Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Who likes whack-a-mole? Who likes who likes digital whack-a-mole? Look at this. It's an Arty. It's an Arty. You know, I like to feature Arty every once in a while because I know that there are people who like it. And it's like I always say about, what do I always say, guys, about Arty? You know what I'm saying? What do I always say? What the are you doing? No, it's not that. It's not what I say. If you're going to do it right. So let's take a look at Wasted Spacer, who is one of our Arty fans. He's in his very mobile Lorraine 155.50. He's going to have a nice game in the old 155.50. And he's got the right map for it here. We're sitting on Prokrovka. And what a great deployment. I'm just seeing this more and more on this map. The 1-2 line is just teams getting in the corner, especially the south spawn. The south spawn's really bad. The north spawn, you can expect people to come down a little bit, but man, the south spawn, because of this bush right here and the lack of bushes here to move up, they really sit back far on the south spawn. So Wasted Spacer uses the G key, that's to give that oblique view that Wargaming has added into the game probably 2 or 3 years ago at this point. It used to be a mod long time ago. I don't know if I would have used it on that shot, Wasted Spacer. I think on the flat open ground like that, I really like the top down a lot better, but it is to taste a little bit, and it kind of depends on where you place the pipper. I just like it a little bit better when we're doing that kind of thing. We'll get a shot here, get a little chunk off the Renagati. Little 241, and we're already 546 off of our stun and 241 of our own damage right there, and we're going to get a large crowd. And this is what you want to see. Remember, if you're going to do Arty, do it right. What you want to see are groups of tanks where you can hit multiples at a time. There is a little divot right there, and that's kind of what you're seeing. Just want you to notice that. See that red line there for you guys that don't know? That means that that is being blocked. That shot is being blocked by this ridge right where the green stops. That's the point at which it's being blocked based on his aim point. Now watch what happens when he drags it back a little bit. He'll find, there we go, so that's far enough past it that the trajectory will take it over that ridge. So the ridge was right there and he was going to hit it, and as he moved his aim point further back, you can see that the arc then clears the little point. See how that worked right there? Yeah. He takes that shot. Now, I want you to look at that because that means he directly hit the tank. Notice that there was no splash, no explosion. That means it went donk right onto whatever that tank was that we were shooting, or another tank. In any event, somebody just took a direct hit from the Arty. So that's another thing to note. That is very useful, actually, for you Arty players. If you have a guy that you're blind shooting, to realize that you actually hit him. And if somebody's AFK and you find an AFK tank and you put your pipper on it and you fire and you see it go, nothing happened, well, that means it hit him. You can keep your pipper right there, probably going to get another shot. So look for those opportunities, especially with Arty. If you find a guy that's AFK on the cap sometimes, especially late game, you can get some free damage off of that. Realize that when they're dark, you don't share the spotting with anybody else. That's worth more experience, and that's important for some of the missions. It's important for grinding the tank to get yourself more experience. Think of the missions where you have to be top experience. That's the kind of shot you want. If you can get a group of tanks that are dark and hit them, that's worth all kinds of good experience just for you. You can see that the 1-2 line is still Camp Lama Ding Dong down there. And we've got Wasted Spacer here. I think he's doing a little bit of counter, maybe looking to see if he can get a shot. There's nothing going on, so it's not a bad plan. The other option, obviously, is to put the pipper somewhere where you expect the next light to come from. I think I would have expected the next light on the hill over here. You can see there's two guys that are now dark, but you've got guys on the hill, so maybe some support there. This position, I don't care for. I kind of understand why he's there. It's a different place. People usually don't look there to counter. I don't get countered because I move. As a general rule, it's not a problem. I don't like this spot because it makes it a little harder to hit the hill. And it is a further time of flight from this corner to that flank. That's why I usually will sit right here and then maneuver off to either side if one of the flanks loses. Now here, the problem here, and I don't know, this must be some kind of weird artifact of the replay because you can see his azimuth lines, all right? That's the field of regard of the gun. And if the gun hits that line, you move it further south of that line, it's going to shift your entire hole. And that will bloom your aim point or bloom your aim out quite a bit, which is not good. And it's showing him kind of aiming outside of it already, and it's not doing the bloom thing. So there's some kind of weirdness going on with that. But that happens sometimes. I think I would have shifted my hole just to center where I think that was, because if he moves too far south, I may hit that line and it'll bloom out, and I've lost shots. There you go. You can see it actually just bloomed out. He just hit the side, and each time he hits that thing, it shifts the hole just a little bit. So I would have just taken my WASD and shifted to the left. Would have made those shots a lot easier, I think. You might have even got one of those out on time. Of everything you did in this game, this one is the one that was the biggest head scratcher to me. I don't know if you think you're going to get up on top, but what's the point? Because there's two guys right there, and this thing will be easily seen. And I thought, well, maybe he's just going to sit right below the ridge, but why? This is going to make your shot on the guys on the other side of the ridge very, very difficult. It's a little bit physics defying. And while it's showing a green line, the problem is you never saw the circle. It's just the aim point's way too far. So that just wasn't going to work. I think you realize that pretty quick. It's not a bad plan. If the hill was cleared, it's not a bad plan to be up there and start lobbing things off the hill. But it's not. So we got the T-29, he dies. And I think that lost you some opportunities for shooting, clearly. I mean, you were kind of moving around and messing around. No shot right there. This dude is making a runner. I don't know if you actually hit him. Yeah, you didn't actually hit that guy. And then we're going to head back this way. And it looks like we're going to return over to the middle piece. That's probably a good idea. You've lost a good portion of your hill, dudes. The Eagles 7's the only guy left. So probably a good idea just to skedaddle and get out of there. And there's the mobility of the 155-50. All of the French ones generally, I guess from about here onward. I don't remember what the 6, how mobile it is. I think it is F3, whatever it is. They're all fairly mobile, especially the upper tier ones. And then we got the Eagle 7 getting pushed. Nice hit there, 238. And yeah, you got to leave because that Eagle 7's not going to last. You do have to watch that spot right there. There are places where the guys on the hill can see you if you're not tucked up against the tracks right there. You can see he wants to leave though, because that entire right flank, the east side, is now collapsed. If they come down to the south and cross over, they're going to go ahead and potentially proxy light him right along the edge of the tracks right there, and that's not good. You don't want that. There we go. And he takes a little pause here to get a shot off. This is one of those you're kind of hanging it out things, and you got to go off a timing on that, whether you got the time to do it. He hits it. He gets some damage after stun. He's up to 716 and 897. Remember that with dark tanks, he has at least one shot on a dark tank. There's probably more damage in there, and you can kind of track what's going on. He's actually destroyed everything he wants there. He just needs 3,000 damage to finish that mission, and I don't think he actually finishes the mission on this one because I don't think he gets 3,000 damage, but this ends up being an ace tanker, which is nice. So the mod 1 is sitting up there. He waits a nice long time until he gets loaded in there. Bam, hits him for 221. I like that he moves after he fires, although he wasn't doing it earlier. While that corner is a relatively unusual place down in the southeast, it's not an unheard of place for Arty to go. So I think I would always be moving early on, especially when there were two Arty. I'm going to try to get a little snap-a-lang on that guy, see if he kills him. There we go. That is another thing Arty is very good at. Anything at low hit points, 100 or less, really. Especially when it gets into the 50s to 30s, just about anything is going to splash anywhere near at this tier for that much damage, and you're going to take near deads out. Remember, near deads can still fire, and Arty is really good for removing them from the board. So he's gone all the way from the one side, the east side, all the way over to the west side, I think wisely. Late game, when you move around with the Arty, and you should be doing that, if you get a little closer to your work, like I said, the time of flight is shorter, which means maneuvers and things like that aren't as effective against the artillery. So the closer you get, Also, though, the closer you get, the less angles you get on the shot. The less angles you get on the shot, which means you're going to have less of a drop in on the shots. So we're down to just 2 tanks. We've got a 25/2. You'll notice the Su-130 has not even been spotted. You have to assume based on where your tanks have gone. Let's talk about that for just a second. While you're watching the mini-map, I'm going to make it big now. That's what she said. Anyway, looking at the mini-map right here. Late game with Arty. When you're looking to gobble up the last hit points that you can and steal kills from your tanks and irritate everybody. All right? It's Arty. That's what we do. When you're looking to do that, make sure you're watching the minimap closely and watch for 2 things. Number 1 is threats to you. Okay, flanks that have collapsed or been left alone because guys have already pushed through. Not really a factor here. It looks like the T-29's got this sorted out. Probably nobody coming through the middle because of the IS right there. You know this guy was here, and you have to assume the Su-130's here. However, the Su-130, there's also a GW Panther wandering around somewhere, could have gone up the hill. So he may be a factor. So just watch the minimap. So late game, some scout or guy YOLOing in going, screw it, the game's lost. Let me just kill Arty. Doesn't come and kill you before you can get all the damage that you can get. One way to avoid that is move, which is what he's doing very nicely right here. And go somewhere else so that it's harder for them to find him. And then pay attention to the minimap for number 2, which is where am I going to get that last shot in? Where am I going to get a little bit more damage out of these guys? And we'll watch what Wasted Spacer does here with that. As soon as I unpause it. There we go. Nicely done. Little shot out on that guy. Got some damage. Didn't quite hit him. But he's up to 1,097 and 1,191 with stun. And we're going to keep on moving in. Not a bad plan right here. I think I would go down. It's hard to explain, but the effect to the trajectory of a downslope on the Arty and an upslope, it does change things. It's not quite the correct physics based on the size of the maps and the way it works, but moving your tank or your hull either back slope or front slope like this can change the trajectory of shots and limit your ability to get into certain places. I think the best bet is to be on flat ground for the aiming with the artillery. There are some reasons where you might want to put your hull up. I don't see a lot of reasons where you would ever really want hull down. I think I would just be down in the flats. The other reason I would be down in the flats down there, Wasted Spacer, is I would get into a bush there. It's pretty unlikely that the GW or the 130 finds you somehow, but up highlighted on a hill, it's just easier. I think I would be down in the bushes down there. And it removes any of the goofiness if you've got the... yeah, I would go after this guy. Oh, we've changed our mind. Nope. Oh, yeah. Okay, so shot selection on that is important, I think. When I see something like that, especially end game like this, really any time, I have to assume the Arty's going to die first. He has no armor, and people are going to prioritize him just because that's how they feel about Arty. So I would have just zoomed in on the 25-2 and let him have it. You know what I'm saying? You knew they were probably going to shoot the Arty, and a lot of times when you do that, you fire, and the shell's in the air, and he dies, and you don't get anything out of it. I think the 25-2 is definitely your better bet. And you might have got that shot off just a little bit earlier, but you actually did hit him for 231, so that worked out. There's still a 1:30 p.m. somewhere. That's going to crank us up to 1,345 on stun damage and 1,328 our own damage, plus whatever dark things we've hit along the way. And it's highly unlikely the Su-130 is going to find you back here. I think I would set up. Get ready for the Scorpion. Somebody's clicked up there at A0. Yeah, I would guess that's probably where he is. Somewhere near there. But this was interesting. He's going to stop right in front of the cap. Probably waiting to get a shot. I think if he would have jumped on cap, he might have capped it out. So this is not a bad plan. Now, somebody just actually went off cap, so you might have jumped on grab just a few more points. You know what I'm saying? Maximizing the amount of experience and stuff that you get out of the game. But this is good too. Scorpion is up here somewhere, or sorry, the Scorpiansky. Oh, look at that. He's down in the weeds. He's making a runner. We're trying to zoom in. We just take a good shot. Good old RNG, man. Just almost a direct hit. We got him tracked, too. Did that get us... Did not get us any assist. He must have fixed it. Looked like he was tracked, but he must have fixed it. And down he goes with 1,607, 1,812. Ends up being an ace tanker, and I think he's got more damage on top of that right there. So really nicely done and a kill for Wasted Spacer from Clan Zeus in his Arty. A lot of goodness there, guys, for you, especially if you're playing Arty to do missions or you like Arty, whatever the case may be. There are ways to play it correctly and to do really well at it. Wasted Spacer just showed you a bunch of them. It does have tracks, use them. Shot prioritization is important. Shooting dark things is better for you for experience. You don't have to share it. Lots of little things that we talked about right there for making your Arty play a little bit better. That is all I have for today. And tactics talk, how to whack-a-mole. Look, if you're going to play it, guys, do it right, okay? That's all I've got. See ya.